Alright guys, just a little update on the 2016 Polaris RZR 900S. So I was working on the transmission and I'm waiting for the new reverse chain. So in the meantime, I did get a power steering upgrade. This one, this unit was the base version, so it didn't come with power steering. And this is from Super ATV, and what they want you to do, so basically you're removing the steering wheel. To remove the steering wheel, of course you take off the center cap, and I think it's a 15/16 nut on this, but what I did was I backed that nut off and just hit it a couple times and the steering wheel came right off. And then you take off your column here, and then the original with no power steering just had a long shaft with one joint down there, and that was a little bit difficult getting it off the rack. But what I did was I used a pry bar and just opened that up a little bit, and it eventually came off. So this is the 400 watt version. I think there's a 220 watt version also, but it tucks up in there fairly nice. And the only downside is I don't have a cover to cover this, so it's kind of all open in there, but it's not, doesn't look horrible. It's kind of down underneath there, so you don't really see it too much. And what it does is it just mounts to where your brake pedal mounts to. This kit I got off eBay, and I think it was 800 bucks. So not bad. I think that would be cheaper than getting it from factory. And all you have is they want you to mount the ECU on this out here, and so it didn't really make much sense to me to mount the ECU up in under here where it's going to get all kinds of crap on it. This is your signal wire. I didn't have a power source going to this, so I excuse me, I had to wire it directly to the battery itself, but they do give you enough wire to do that. So I got a little bit of extra here. I probably should have cut that, but I'll just loop that and zip tie it up in there. And so the ECU, instead of putting it out there, there's a support bracket. Let's see if I can show you here. There's a support bracket for the dash, and I just drilled a couple holes and mounted it right in there where it's going to stay nice and dry, along where you can see just the tail end of the motor and it is a brushless setup, I guess. So and what you have is there's a signal. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a signal light right here. So when I key on, I do have the rear end apart, but it still works. So when I key that on, get my fingers out of the way, that light, so when that light pulses on, it shows you it's working. And power steering is just one finger, just like a car. It's really nice. And then when you power this off, it actually, you have the power steering for another 10-15 seconds, and then you'll hear it shut off. With this, the only issue really that I had was this joint right here is really, really close to here. So what they want you to do is leave all these bolts loose, and I finally tightened those up at the last bit there. I just moved everything over, and it gave me just enough room where that doesn't hit, and just tightened up all the bolts, and it works as it should. And if it were to fail, you can still, use it as a manual, so it's not going to lock up on you. 800 bucks, and took me about 3 hours. So not horrible.
Never done it before, of course, so I didn't know how bad it was going to be, but it wasn't bad at all. So yeah, that's what I did in the meantime while I'm waiting for that reverse chain. And as soon as I get that in and get that reverse working, I'll give you a heads up.